Hello and welcome back, and we're getting back into working with AGR Pro inventory, and we're going back to our FPS example that we made previously with the mocap character. So if I jump into play right now, I show you where we are right now, is that we have this guy that has certain third-person, first-person animations. He has shoulder switching of the camera and proper first-person aim offset that isn't breaking much. Okay, and he also works with FPP animations and ADS. So yeah, we got this guy. So what I did, we're going to make a new character that will work with our inventory. But I had to do some preparations before we start working with this. So I made a copy of the hand cannon overlay animation that we already had. And I made copies for Glock, AK-47, and MP7, A1, and Remington shotgun. So yeah, now we have 5 weapons instead of just 1 for FPP. So I went also to our core graph, and here in base poses nothing changed, but in overlay poses now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weapons. All of them are set in the same way as previously, with one exception, that now we have an entry and leave state. So from the conduit, if we have any valid overlay tag, we check if our overlay tag is exactly the overlay tag that we expect to enter this pose. If it is, we don't enter the pose directly, but we enter to the equip animation. And the equip animation is just this rise animation, and all of those weapons from Iron Belly has one. So we'll be doing things here, and from this pose always we have an automatic rule based on sequence. So when this animation is about to finish, it will go into this pose, and when you come back to unequip, that means that overlay pose is no longer this pose, it's not. Then we go here and we do a play animation lower, which is, well, basically more of the same, it just lowers the weapon. And then based on automatic rule, we go back into our conduit, and then we pick a new pose, or we go back to the entry pose, which is just the base pose. So yeah, this looks intimidating, but that exactly took me very little time to set up. All of those poses, they are exactly the same, linked anim graph, they are just set up in the same way. This is, I think, the only exception, because it didn't have any animations on the left hand. So I just added the input pose being switched to the left hand forcefully, but this is exactly the same everywhere, and it's just sprint default, and here you have ADS and non-NDS, and yeah, nothing more to it. So let's get back here. This is our anim graph. We're not checking anything else. I've added those 5 tags. I also added some tags for our equipment. One is item, weapon primary, and second is item, weapon secondary. And those are the ones we're going to work with today. So when it comes down to equipment and interacting with objects, we will have 2 different ways to interact with items that we have limited slots in our character. So what is our aim is inventory system that works in Counter-Strike or Valorant or Left 4 Dead or any other game where you can have only one weapon picked at a time of certain type. If you pick up a new weapon of that type, then you immediately drop the previous one and you equip the new one. So yeah, let's start with preparing the character, but you know what, just to start, we'll work in a new folder. This is an empty, clean folder. We'll call it FPS inventory. We'll give it a color so we don't lose it. And yeah, let's go here and let's just make a new blueprint class that is a character, and we'll call it BP FPS character. Okay, it's fine for now. We're going to set him as default, but first we need to also open this guy because we'll copy some of the stuff from him. So let's go back here. Let's open this guy. So yeah, -90, -90 mannequin, and best if it's this one. Core, mocap core, we're using the same anim graph as the previous guy. 90. Then we go here, and just to test multiplayer stuff, we want to change collision. Say that we ignore camera, and then this is for the mesh, so we don't ignore visibility. And we want to go into optimization and say always tick pose and refresh bones. Okay, so we got this guy, and here we go into collision presets and we do custom, and we say that we don't block either camera nor visibility. Okay, from our mockup character, what we want to do is, well, first of all, go into inputs, copy all the inputs, get back here, do a new graph, inputs, paste it, and yeah, this guy should be partially working already. Where is it? Okay, we're not doing that. Let's just, this is gamepad input. Okay, we're not testing gamepad input, so I don't care about that either, and this should be everything for now. Okay, we still don't have a camera, so let's copy from this guy, and I really like how we set up this camera, so let's just copy those 3 components. And I'm thinking, would it be easier to just make a copy of this guy? Nah, never mind. Let's set everything up. So we'll just copy this. Can we? We should be able to copy just components. Yeah, we can. Okay. So this goes to head. And then we go here, copy that, go here, okay, and find reference, get, so we got this setup TP camera, and this is lerping field of view, socket, arm length. Okay, and we're doing this custom camera switching. Okay, but our character will be only first person, so you know what, we're going to not do anything about that. Let's just use this camera, 77 FOV, and this camera is using control rotation, which is fine. Okay, let's see, viewport, so this is 0, 0. We want it to snap to our head. And pretty much immediately our FPS character should be already playable. Let's see. Oh, yeah, but he won't have animations running properly, so I'll just do this. And it's just animation, animaster. I will not add sound because all those footsteps are really loud and they'll be very distracting. So just do this. Space pose will be locomotion. Overlay pose will be nothing, animation modification will be nothing, and our rotation method will be absolute rotation. Rotation speed is irrelevant in this way. Our aim offset type is look, and our aim offset behavior is nearest. Aim clamp is 90. This is 90, hand R, IK, hand done. And spine 03, let's make it head, okay. And we are not camera based aim. Oh, come on, cat. Yeah, good boy. Okay, and it's not camera based aim. That should be the entire setup we need for this guy. He should be playable now. So let's test him. Okay, the camera is not attached properly. So let's get back here. What's going on? FP camera is detached? No. So what? Let's just add a new camera. And let's say 77 and attach to head. Use power control rotation. Okay, I can see my chin, but I am now properly attached to my head. And this guy is properly turning and animating. Like, he's running really fast because I forgot to change his locomotion speed. So let's make his velocity, let's do walk speed. Max walk speed 3. Okay, but this is mockup character. Let's close him, this guy. So character movement. Let's do max acceleration 1560. Let's do max walk speed, not 600 but 360, maybe even 370, something like that. Max crouch speed 180. Can walk off ledges always, can crouch, can jump, can swim, can walk. Okay, and let's test him again. Okay, now he's moving at a more reasonable pace, and let's get rid of all those coins. We don't really need them right now. Let's just get this actor and just remove the spawner from the level. It doesn't serve any purpose in this test. Okay, because we're not going to pick up coins, obviously. Like, we could, but it's not what we are aiming at. So okay, we got this character now. Let's save the map. And what we want from this character is to have an AGR inventory and also an equipment, AGR equipment manager. Okay, and we're going to slowly set up both of those. So let's just compile and save. And we want him to be able to interact with an object, and that object is going to be a weapon. We want him to pick up weapons. So let's make a new actor, and we'll call it BP weapon. Let's call it template. Okay, and this weapon template will need to implement an interface just for ease of use. Like, we don't have to use an interface. We can do casts, we can do other things, but we want to use blueprint interface. We could use components as well, but we're going to call it weapon interface. Okay, so this guy is going to have weapon interface. Okay, weapon interface. So we're going to open our weapon interface, and we need some actions that we can call on the weapon, which will be reload, and it will just do reload. And other actions we want to call on it will be you know what, for now this is everything. We just need it to exist. So we got this. Let's add a skeletal mesh. The skeletal mesh needs to be the root, and let's set it to the hand cannon, which we already know that is working properly, and it must have animation. Okay, so it's this one, the weapons animation graph. So now it has this strange animation that it's tilted and everything, but this is just the idle one, so it's fine, it's working properly. And from him, do we want anything else? Yeah, sure we do. We want to have EB barrel component, which is the component for easy ballistics. And okay, muzzle, no. Okay, no. Join trigger, join safety, join. Barrel attachment point? Yeah, it's this one. Okay. So we can do some stuff that will make our weapon easier to set up. So on construction script, we can say that this needs to attach to component. And the component is this, and the socket name is a variable called barrel socket. And on default, it will be barrel attachment point, but I know it's not the same for every weapon because reasons. And this will be snap keep world, and this will be compile default. Okay, so we got this. We don't need any of this, and we want it to be an item, so we want AGR item component in it. So now we have one, and it is not a stackable item, so we just got one stack and one current stack. It takes some inventory space. Let's say it weighs 1 kilogram and takes I don't know, 3 cubic feet or something. Base info, let's call it weapon change me. Simulated drop, sure, why not. And item tag. And now, depending on how we want to do inventory, we have to give this item some tag. So we're going to make it just a weapon for now, nothing else. It is a weapon. Okay, or you know what, let's make sure that we know what kind of weapon it is. So this is a secondary weapon by default, but okay, let's not, by default it's just a weapon. So let's make it a weapon. Do we have to set up anything else? I don't really think so. Okay, so we got a weapon template now, so let's make a child of it, and we're going to call it BP hand cannon, and let's set it up properly. So skeletal mesh, well, yeah, it's already set up, so it's this one. And you know what, just to not be confused, in the template weapon we're going to set it up to nothing, and we're going to set this to none. So for hand cannon, we got class defaults where we just have this barrel attach point, which is fine, skeletal mesh, which is this, animation instance, which is this. This is not going to be changed. Maybe let's change fire rate to 5, and this is semi-auto, and cycle infinite ammo for now, we don't really care. Oh, and we need an ammo type, so let's make a new blueprint. Let's make it an actor. Oh no, let's not make it an actor. Let's make a new EB bullet. We call it BP universal bullet. Okay, and this EB universal bullet, all we want to do is just enable debug, and we are not really changing anything. Do we want to do anything with this? I don't think so. We could, but we're not going to change any of the setup, so we just leave it as is. And this will be for our all weapons. For this, it will be the default ammo in case we forgot to set any other ammo. So let's save this. Let's go here, say universal bullet, compile, save. And I think we have everything almost for the hand cannon. Let's just change its name to hand cannon and change its tag to secondary. And we need to set up at least 2 weapons. We need to set up 2 weapons to know if this weapon is actually working properly. So let's make a new one, which will be also a create child actor of weapon template, and let's call it BP MP7, one of my favorites. So let's go here, and skeletal mesh is German SMG. Okay, I see that the attachment point of the barrel is same, which is great. And I will not go through the details of how to do muzzle flash, case ejector, stuff like that. We already set up in previous videos in the FPS series, so you know how to do that. I want to show you how to work with inventory and items. If you are wondering if I'm going to ever do anything more to this, if I'm going to do more to this, I'm going to do it off screen, not to waste time doubling videos like many other YouTubers do. Go here, change this MP7A1, and this is a primary weapon. Okay. Do we have to change anything else? Not stackable. No. This is irrelevant, really, the inventory spacing for our tests. Simulate when dropped. Okay. Okay, and by default we can say that this is simulating physics. Oh, why can't it simulate physics? Does it mean that we don't have a physics object? I mean, we have physics body. Perfect. So why it can't simulate physics? Oh, okay, probably because it has no collision, so we have to change that. Let's change it on the template. So let's go back here. Let's go into weapon template. Let's go into skeletal mesh, and let's say that we want to have custom collision. We need to enable query and physics. Our object type is war dynamic, but we should actually make a new object type, which is weapon. We are blocking visibility and camera traces. We want to block word static, word dynamic for sure. We want to ignore pawn, which is also important so our weapons don't push ourselves back. We might want to block physics bodies or not, depends on us. Let's say that we do. We definitely ignore vehicles in case we ever walk into a vehicle. And if we don't want to damage destructibles on collision, we should ignore destructibles. Otherwise, when we hit with our barrel any destructible object, it will deal damage based on velocity and mass of the weapon. So now, when we have those settings done, okay, we should be able to allow it on the children. So hand cannon. Oh, come on, we need to refresh them. Oh no, I had to set it by hand. Okay, again, yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. And why? I mean, interesting. Let's see, and the MP7 open full. Let's go here. Okay, so this got set up automatically. but I still can't enable physics. Interesting. Oh, that's odd, to be honest. Okay, let me check that out. Okay, found it. The weapons, they do have existing physics assets, but they're not set. So this German, let's use this, and this will fix this one. So now it can simulate physics. And for our hand cannon, we need to do the same exactly. We have to go to our skeletal mesh, and here we want to say hand cannon physics asset. Okay, we don't really have to set up shadow physics asset, but I already did anyway, just in case we ever use it. And now in BP hand cannon we can say simulate physics as well. And okay, so now we know that we have all those events on pickup, on hidden, on dropped, used, and all of those, and we're going to slowly work our way around it. But first we start here. Let's take a box. And let's just move it closer here. And another one here. And let's just go to our folder and let's see what happens if we just drag one of those here and drag one of those here and hit play. Do they break completely or not? Okay, so they dropped, they're simulating, and they are here and they are working. So let's go to our character. Let's start doing some cool stuff regarding physical interaction with stuff. So what we want to do is to, well, maybe not on tick. Let's do a sphere trace by channel, and we don't want a multi-sphere, we just want one sphere, so a single collision check, and we want to have reference of our camera forward vector, okay, and our camera location, world location. Okay, so we want to start from our world location, and then we want to get forward vector of our camera, multiply it by a float, let's say 200 units, so 2 meters, which is quite a lot. And then we want to just add this vector to our vector of the start location, and this is our end location. So we got like this. Okay, and now radius will be something very small, let's say 3. And what we are checking is visibility, camera, or something else, right? So we know that our weapons block both of those, but not everything blocks camera. Some objects ignore camera blocking, so let's use camera. You know what, let's use camera just because we can. Trace complex, no, we don't need that. Draw debug type, we don't need that. Ignore self, yes, definitely. Actors to ignore, we need to get equipment and say get all items, and those are the actors to ignore. And compile, save. Now we can run it on tick, or we can run it at a timer, but you know what, we can just do it on tick, that doesn't really matter. Let's do a custom event, let's say search for interactable. Okay, and if we hit something with this sphere, we are going to do a check if this thing is an object that we can interact with. So, oh no, we're actually going to just see if it's an item. So we can see if it's an item on multiple ways. First of all, we can just get the hit actor and we can say item component. And if it has a valid item component, then it is an item. If it's not, then it's not. We can also say has tag, and all items has a tag item, which is being added automatically to the actor. I don't know if we can see it here in actor tags. No, not yet, because it's being done at runtime. But if we hit here and I go out and we go into any of the weapons and we go into the actor itself and we go into tags, we can see it has a tag item. So we can just check if something has tag item, because that's something we shouldn't do by hand, but this is valid as well. So let's use maybe tag, because reasons, nothing really stopping us from it. And okay, so if it is an item, we want to promote this to variable interactable, or just item in view. Oh, let's go like this. So this is an item in view. So if it is not an item or we didn't hit anything, we want to invalidate item in view. So now search for interactable. We're going to use it on tick. And now when we hit F key on keyboard, we want to get item in view, we want to get item component, and we want to just say its name and want to print. Want to print text or print string, doesn't really matter, this is a name value. And we maybe want to see it for one frame, this trace, if it's even properly done. So let's hit play. Okay, we see our sphere trace in front of us. Looks like a crosshair really. Going 2 meters up, and now we have a hit. We can see what we are hitting. If I hit F, we can see client 1 says hand cannon, which is correct. If I go here, I'm saying none, because there's some issue with the collision on the MP7. Okay. Yes, enable gravity, this is all fine. Interesting. Oh, never mind. Yeah, there was something fundamentally wrong. How didn't I see that? No idea. Like in weapon template, I should do this as well. And in hand cannon, because I set it by hand, it is working properly because I didn't miss those. Okay, so now we should be able to see that those are 2 different weapons. Okay, hand cannon, MP7. Okay, great. So we can somewhat interact with those items because we know that they are an item. And we can use interface, we can use other ways of interaction with them. So let's do a very simple one. So on F, if it is a valid item, and we know that this is an item that we can interact with, what we want to do is just say our inventory pickup. We just get the item, get item component, say pick up this item by our inventory. And that will tell the item to do what we are asking to do. And if we want to ever run it on multiplayer, what we need to do is just in case do a branch here, saying local controlled, and just local control. It doesn't have to be player controlled. Then we are doing this, and if we don't do this, this is invalid. So that's actually great. And on F, we want to do a custom event and say interact on server, and no spaces. Let's not be terrible. Let's at least pretend that we are programmers, and let's do it running on server reliably. And what we want to do is push forward the actor that we are interacting with. Interaction actor, which is an actor. Okay, and we want to on F say interact on server, and we want to push item in view, and if the item is replicated properly. Oh, and we forgot about that. So weapon template, class defaults, class settings, no, yes, yes, yes. If we are simulating, we need to do this as well. Okay, so now we can close this and this and this. And we can go here and say do this, and here what we want to do is set it on the server side. Like this is a non-replicated variable. We wanted to set it on the server side, and then what we want to do is, well, we should check if it's valid still, because someone can just spam F key without any good reason for it. And then if it is valid, we want to do stuff on it. However, one more thing, we want to see if actor location distance to distance to this actor location, to this, oh no, get location, get actor location. If this distance is smaller than, let's say, 250. So if it is smaller than 250, which means we're not trying to take an item that is far away. Okay. So now if we hit play and I press F, I should pick up this item, right? Okay, so I did pick up this item, but I didn't pick up this item. Why is that? Let's see. I think the easiest way to see if something is happening or not will be just to go into BP weapon template and just handle all of the events. Okay, so what we want to do is get name. It will be universal for everything. Print text. So we want to do a format text. We want to do this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's do first one. Name of the item picked up. Okay. And this goes here. By, and here will be the inventory ID. Okay. This is the first event. Now on hidden show, we want to do it like this. Item's name. Okay, we got discovered. Third one is dropped. And let's just do it like this. We don't really need the ID. We just need to know that it happened. And here we want to say equipped 2p. So this got equipped. And we now want to do just this, that it got used, whatever the item is. And the last one is